Yeah, so Arnon, you're still online. Do you have any comments to make on Neil's presentation or any of the comments that have been addressed by, brought up by some of the attendees?
Yeah, a few points. First of all, regarding just to add regarding the selection of flowers or wild plant to planted in or around the avocado orchard, I would prefer.
You're back, Arnon.
Okay, so what I tried to say, and you probably did not hear me, is that I would prefer to plant or to look for a wild plant that supply pollen and not nectar, because the pollen collector, when they visit the avocado orchard, they restrict their visitation to male stage flowers, and they are not doing any efficient pollination activity. From the other point of view, the avocado does not supply enough pollen. It's a poor source of pollen. So there is no competition, but it will provide more resources for the bees and other pollinators. If we will have very rich source of nectar, it might create situation of competition. So if I have the possibility to choose between plants that supply pollen or supply nectar, I would go more for plants that supply pollen. This is the one point. Another point regarding those plants that produce huge amount of flowers that was mentioned at the beginning of the discussion. We know it also from mango and lychee, and as Neil said, like cocoa. You know, in the plant kingdom, we have different mechanisms to improve the possibility to get cross-pollination. Different mechanism. In rosacea, like in almond, there is self-incompatibility controlled by S alleles. But in all the other crops that I mentioned, the lychees, avocados, the mango, pollen grain, self and cross-pollen can germinate the same rates. It can fertilize the same, but still the plant have the mechanism to increase the proportion of cross-pollinated progeny. And the mechanism is not at the stage of pollen germination, but the mechanism is selection of hybrids among the fruitlets. So it shut down the self-pollinated fruitlet and allows the cross-pollinated fruitlet to survive. So I think this is kind of a general explanation to what's happening. You need a lot of flower in the plant to be able to do this selection. And I think this is, from the evolutionary point of view, I think this is a direction. The last issue that I would like to refer is regarding the first question, I think, whether avocado flower are adapted to avocado, whether honeybee are good pollinator for avocado. So definitely not. The fact that the avocado is one of their last preferred food resources, and that the bee responds very bad to the high concentration of potassium, just emphasizing the fact that those flowers were developed with other pollinators. And we know that from previous study in Middle America and South America, that there are stingless bees and some wasps that are probably the wild pollinators of avocado. But still, honeybee are the most abundant pollinators, and this is what's available, in addition to some other pollinators that was mentioned. So it's not the ideal pollinator, but this is what we have, and we need to work with.
Arnon, could you elaborate on this potassium issue in the avocado nectar?
Yeah, for many years we try to understand why the bee does not prefer avocado flowering upon other flowers. And there was a lot of assumption that the sugar concentration is high and persitol presence is repelling them. And something like 10 years ago, we've done an experiment. We looked for the potassium concentration in avocado nectar. We found that it's around 3,000 to 4,000 parts per million, which is an extremely high level. And when we serve the bees with sugar solution with those concentration of potassium and allows them also to forage on sugar solution without potassium, they will prefer completely the solution without potassium. So this high level of potassium, which is typical to avocado, and as Neil mentioned, also onion flower. In onion flower, we have similar story of relatively low attractiveness, despite the fact that they produce a lot of nectar. So it seems that high level of potassium is one of the main reasons for the fact that bees are not attracted very well to avocado flowers. And if they have other alternatives, many times they will go for those alternatives.
Well, how can you manipulate potassium then in the nectar?
A good question. I think you need to provide potassium for the plant to grow, but you can provide it after the flowering is ending. Start to apply, to fertilize with potassium after the pollination period is ended, and do not apply too much potassium. Look, do analysis of diagnostic leaf and follow the recommendation, and then I think you can reduce it a little bit.
Yeah.
But Ben, I think this is also one of the, in the case of onion, we see other bees, bees in the sweat bee family. There's some nice studies of that, and then flies that do not seem to be dissuaded so much from visiting onion. Avocado, I don't know the details of, but there are clearly just differences in what those different organisms are bothered by or not. And so, something pollinates avocado, and if it's something that we can't promote here, like we're not going to be having stingless bee colonies in California, but there are other things. Then those are the things that we sort of need to understand and target to help out. It's not that we would be not using honeybees, but also just augmenting other things. This kind of insurance policy, right? This diversity of things visiting. I mean, we have work from almond that shows that value, both indirectly through just diversity, but also directly, where the presence of more diverse insects visiting almond actually makes the honeybees better pollinators as well. So there are lots of benefits to diversifying as well.
Yeah. Would either of you or both of you, would you comment on use of bee hormones and bee sugars for attracting pollinators into an avocado orchard? Does this help to spray bee lure, bee scent, whatever? Is that going to help? Come on, jump in.
I would not comment on that. I mean, one of the things from our, we worked on this a long time ago, 30 years ago, and I think things have moved on since then in terms of what is being used. So at that point, it was things like queen aggregation pheromones, and I think the issue there is the matching of a pheromone used in one context of the organism's life cycle to a different context. So aggregating in a when hives are swarming, they are definitely not feeding. They're doing something entirely different. And so I think that wasn't perhaps the most insightful matching, but it could be that there are other attractants now that are being used. And I have not worked with them with honeybees at all in the intervening time. So.
Then if you look along the history of pollination, you see many those compounds went into use and went out from the market. with a lot of promising and a lot of positive story. One of the main problem is that when researchers have negative result, it doesn't publish them. So many studies that tested those compounds and were not successful were not published. Few studies occasionally were successful and those were published, generally not in so high rated journal. So there is a big question mark regarding their effectiveness. Someone told me you cannot cheat the bees. They will learn very fast where is the reward, what is better for them. So maybe here and then you will have some positive impact. Maybe there will be something new that I'm not aware, but from my experience, the probability that it will do real work is not so high.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the area that we would focus our financial efforts towards, I would say, as a.
So Mary Lou brings up the point, what about introduction of pollen? For example, in kiwi fruit and almonds now, they're doing supplemental pollen. Is there any value in doing that in avocado?
I think it would be it will be relatively complicated. I know that some companies started to collect pollen of avocado, but again, because of the fact that the amount of pollen in the flower is not high in avocado flower, and it's very sticky pollen, it's relatively difficult to collect it. I think if you will compare the effort to the benefit, it's hard to believe that it will work like in almond or kiwi fruit. This is my own perspective, but maybe I'm wrong.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
Certainly has been fun to watch the squares of people. I saw someone driving for most of the meeting. That was the first time I've ever seen that. So it's fun to see everybody coming in from wherever they are.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the end of this session.
Ben,
yeah.
Arnon wanted to show 2 additional slides about what the situation is in the avocado orchards in Israel. If we could do that.
Yes, it's a sad story. And Mary Lou and Ben asked me to share this story. You probably hear in the news all the time about the conflict that happened in Israel. And around the Gaza Strip, we have a lot of avocado plantation. This is a very good area for growing avocado. You can see here in yellow, those are all the avocado orchards surrounded the Gaza Strip. This is a major source of income for many of those settlements. And we have a relatively moderate climate and light soil, and it's a very good area for avocado cultivation. We have around 1,600 hectares of avocados there. And the terrorist attack on October 7th, some of the avocado growers were killed. Some of the workers were killed also in this attack. Most of the workers left. We have a foreigner worker, mostly from Thailand, they left Israel, so the grower left without labor to work in the field. And there have been a lot of damages to the avocado orchards. A lot of rockets and bombs were affecting those orchards. The grower cannot reach the orchard, and this is a relatively dry area. So we have problem with irrigation, which cause the death of the trees. And later on, people start to come back to those orchards after 2 or 3 weeks. with the secure of the army people to protect them. A lot of volunteers come to help them to repair back the damages that caused for the drip irrigation system. And now the growers start to deal and handle everything back. One of the major problems is that most of the people were evacuated from the settlement in this area, so to make life a little bit difficult. So it's kind of a weird combination between avocado cultivation and politics and war situation, but we all pray for peaceful time in the region, and people will be able to go back to their daily life. And Mary Lou and Ben, thank you for allowing me to show this story.
Thank you. Okay, so our next meeting with Avocado Cafe is what date? February? Mary Lou?
Oh, you know what? Let me look, because now I forget to, just a second.
Ben, can I ask a quick question? Do other fruit trees in bloom help pollinate avocados? You know, at the same time they're blooming because they attract bees?
Oh, well, you know, I think it's into the general category of alternative sources of nectar and pollen. So yeah, another tree could be much more attractive than so
I got it,
conundrum.
but is there
Yeah.
kind of like, does garlic or anything underneath the avocados help also the bees? There's some thoughts that maybe that helps some pollination. I don't understand it, but is that a bee thing or is it kind of more just environmentally friendly?
Well, it's like Neil was talking, you're increasing resources for all the other pollinators that are out there. And so you got to keep things going. The avocado is flowering, God damn it, from December through June. So you have to have pollinators out there. You have to have consistency. It's got to happen at the right temperature. It's got to, I mean, the avocado is picky, and it's only going to, you know, set fruit for 3 days out of 6 months. So you got to have pollinators out there. You got to feed those pollinators, and that's why diversity is important. Close.
That's kind of a stupid question, but somebody said spray honey. If you're just, I have an orchard only in my home, but spray honey or spray some sort of sugar water to attract bees. And I was told by honey people that this is dangerous because you can get pesticides, something back to the hive. So don't use honey. But does anybody spray any kind of sweetening on the flowers? If you have a small, like a family, it's my yard, you know, is that something that you could consider?
No, it doesn't work. No, they want real nectar. They want real pollen, and they go lap up the sugar on the leaves, but they don't go to the flowers.
Can't fool the bees.
No, that's what Arnon said. You cannot fool
Can't
the
fool Mother Nature.
Yeah, right.
So I looked, the next meeting is February 13th. And the keynote speaker there will be Anaki Hermanza, but we also will hear about JIB applications from Tim Spann.
Excellent. Well, thank you and have a good day. Go back to work now.
Yes, sorry.
Thanks again, everybody.